Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy who shares his story, which in my opinion is the perfect example, guys, of what not to do when it comes to women. And also is an example of all the crap guys will go through because they get themselves a good-looking girl. It's unbelievable. Now, truly, we're going to be dealing with the hot, crazy scale dynamic here because this guy sent me a picture of the girl and in a bikini, and believe me, she's hot. But guess what? There are plenty of hot women out in this world, and so one doesn't have to deal with all the crazy for the amount of crap he goes through just because there's one girl. There's plenty of ways to replace her. But you're going to see in the story here with all the things this guy endures. It's unbelievable. And so, guys, while normally stories I do are where guys are overcoming things and learning from it and coming out on top, this is a situation where this guy just deals with so much. And so I'm doing this just to show you guys, as an example, the crap guys put up with just because they get a hot piece of ass on their arm. When it's just better just to cut them loose when the crazy starts coming out and move on. And so lots of things to learn from this guy's mistakes here. Because this channel is all about a lot of things. But it's also learning, growing, becoming a better man, becoming stronger, on your purpose and all that. And as best you can, learn from other people's mistakes. And you're going to see here what this guy goes through because of this hot chick. So, and it's a longer one, guys. So I'm going to try to minimize the commentary unless it's absolutely necessary. But I think you'll enjoy this. So it starts off. He says, "Hi, SSM. I just watched your last video on the crazy girl who confirmed the hot crazy scale matrix. Sadly, I think I had this one topped. Yes, my friend, you most certainly do, but she's not the only one that's crazy. You, my friend, were going through some crazy too, but by you staying with her." He says, "This is a long one, so I doubt you can share all of it in this video, but if you want to take a shot, then go for it. Picture included for your time. The backstory is I met my ex in March of 2017 at work. I was 33 at the time, and she was about to turn 30 in June. So you were in your 30s, so you should have known better at this time, but you didn't. We both were brand new on a team of 4, and she was fresh out of a relationship with a guy that she lived with. Within a month, she was at my desk flirting every day and ignoring everyone else outside of casual talk. She strolled to my desk every morning, and all throughout the day would just flirt and bat her eyelashes and suggest that we go for drinks. I usually just said sure, but never did anything about it because I had just left my last job over a girl who friend-zoned me, and all went to hell after that. So he left his last job because he got involved with a girl at work, and obviously she friend-zoned him and things were bad, so he had to leave his job. That might give someone an idea that maybe it's not a good idea to get involved with another woman that I work with because I don't want to screw up my work situation. Remember, guys, how I tell you in other videos that in life, if you make a mistake and you move on, life will put you in situations and bring people into your life that are going to test to see if you learned your lesson. Well, here we go again, and this guy, as you're going to see, is not going to learn his lesson. It's best. Work is work. That's where you go to earn a paycheck or you have your own business. Don't get involved with girls you work with, guys, because nowadays there's too much possible problems that can go wrong. There's plenty of women you can meet outside of the office. Okay, just use them for eye candy and all that, but don't get involved with them. And you're going to see another reason why. Anyhow, I had to get that out. He says, she gave off the persona of a very family-oriented girl who had a toy dog that she cared for. A toy dog? The hell does that mean? And was just into hanging out with her friends. Several of my coworkers commented multiple times that she was just the kind of girl who wasn't into or looking for anybody. Man, were we all wrong. Her pursuit went on for about 8 months before I finally took her out. 8 months, that's persistence. Goes to show you women love a challenge. I would only find out later that she was dating a new guy the entire time she was pursuing me. Imagine that. The new guy had replaced her previous ex that she was living with before we began working together ASAP. Basically showing that she can just move out without a care in the world. I'll have to come back to this later on for a reason. See? Women can pick up and move like that, and they usually always have backup in case the situation goes wrong with the current guy. Anyways, I finally took her out, and we hooked up by the second date. I still saw and flirted with her every day at work, and was told I was everything she ever wanted and how happy she was, and how great it was to be dating someone that she actually liked and was friends with, because most of the time she realized most guys she dates she really doesn't like. That makes a whole lot of sense. We discussed goals and what we were looking for. I told her for now I'm just looking to have fun, but would perhaps like to have marriage and kids one day. Smack. She said she was definitely looking for the same. About a month into the dating, she sends me a drunk breakup text on a Friday night because I'm not communicating enough. Apparently she was so attention needy that seeing me for 8 hours a day at work wasn't enough and was mad that I never call or text her at night. These are signs, dude, of the crazy. I was under the impression that I should be busy and working on my purpose and not making a girl the center of my life. Yes, that's exactly what you should be doing, but not every woman's going to like that. There are going to be women out there that aren't going to like the fact you're in your purpose. They want the attention all the time. They're needy, and they're going to then either break up with you or start cheating. So it's best to screen those girls out and get rid of them early when the crazy starts showing up. Right here. This is when you should have gotten out. I wouldn't have got involved with her in the first place, being a coworker, amongst other little signs. But you're learning. But when she broke up with you over this, done. Well, that clearly didn't work for her. The next day she texted apologizing and boo-hooing, saying she was drunk and was just upset that I'm supposed to love her, but I never check on her. Anyway, that resolved itself until about a month later. Oh, imagine that. More crazy started showing up. You should have ended it with her right then, dude. The next disaster is when I picked her up one afternoon after she had been working and drinking at a beer festival. She doesn't handle her alcohol well at all, and in the middle of us having you-know-what, she out of nowhere says she doesn't want to do this. I calmly said, okay, and asked if she wanted to do this, do that, or this, and she said no to everything, and basically asked if I wanted to see other people. Right in the middle of hooking up? I told her no and asked if she did, and she said yes. I put my clothes on. I immediately left with her chasing me down the hall of her apartment naked with her bedsheet wrapped around her. I received multiple texts begging me to come back. Wait a second. A moment ago, she wanted to break up with you in the middle of hooking up. And then you leave and say, okay. And she chases after you butt naked down the hall with the sheet barely covering herself and begging you to come back. Dude, she's crazy. I don't care how hot. I know she's hot. I've seen it. You sent me the picture of her in the bikini. Smoking hot, I agree. But still. Find another chick. I took her back the next day and basically told her she needed to stop drinking if she couldn't act any better than this. She apologized, of course. The next month, she suddenly becomes really lethargic and tired and sick. You can guess what had happened. She was pregnant. Oh, shit. I asked her what she wanted to do and how we needed to handle this with her family and mine. The immediate response from Mrs. I want to get married and have kids, who is now pregnant, was that she could find a clinic to handle this, and she was not ready to be a mom. No, she should not be a mom. This woman is mental. I told her not to do this for me, that no, I wasn't ready to be a dad either, but I can't make this decision, and I want her to do what she really wants. Anyway, she went through with it and without any hesitation. Worst experience ever. I never viewed her the same after that. Before even going through with that, she was worried about her trip to Miami coming up. Anyways, I haven't mentioned this yet, but I'm white and she is black. Never an issue on my end, but on hers, she always wanted to know every week for the first 3 months we dated, when was she going to meet my mom? And she thought I was hiding her from my family because she is black. Ridiculous on her part, but I'm old school and believe that you only bring someone to meet your mom and dad who's a serious girlfriend with whom you feel you're probably going to marry. I wouldn't go so far about the married thing, which, I don't agree with that to begin with anyway, but certainly you don't bring a girl to see mom and dad if you've just been dating her a few weeks and hooking up. It would be obviously and I agree with that, waiting several months till she's actually serious and all that. Otherwise, don't waste your time. But she's a drama queen, so of course she's finding a reason to pick a fight and have some drama. I told you guys, women love drama in varying degrees. There are some that just can't function without it, and there's some that need a little drama to keep things interesting. Any girls watching this, you know I'm right. She says here, I finally agreed to tell my mom that she wanted to meet her. My mom had heard all about her when we were just friends at work and was happy that I had somebody who was nice and friendly to have at work. Yeah, if your mom only knew the truth. She knew I cared for this girl and had feelings, but wanted to know why she wanted to come meet her so fast. She then asked me how I felt and what this girl wanted. I told her her goals and how she was just having fun. My mom told me that was wrong to lead a girl on, but she'd be glad to meet her, but I needed to think about what I was doing, however. Well, you need to think about how this girl's mental and how to get rid of her. But again, you work with her. Now that complicates your work situation. Guys, don't get involved with women you work with. The next day, I broke it off and told her this chat. At first, she was okay, but no big deal. But hours later, came the text calling my mom a racist, bitch, me a loser little boy with the smallest you-know-what ever. All the stuff that hurt girls say. I showed a few friends who claimed to be seasoned veterans of crazy women, and they dropped their jaws in disbelief and said, run, run, run. Yes, you should have listened to your friends, buddy. They all said this is not a normal reaction, but a total crazy bee with issues. Yes, they're right. Anyway, I got back with her because I felt like I had hurt her and made a rush decision. Smack. She repaid the favor by creating a Tinder account and hooking up with a guy. I know this because she started acting funny and not affectionate about a month after all this happened. So she's passive-aggressive as well. That's great. One day at work, I created a quick fake Tinder just to see and set it to a distance of 1 mile. Her picture was the first that popped up. I sent her a goodbye text with a screenshot of it. She played the victim and said we're not even together and that she asked for time. This despite being on dates with me over the last 3 weeks. I was furious, but never had a clue if she did anything until 3 months later when I snooped her phone because that whole time that was on my mind. Anyway, I blame myself for dumping her and causing her to think I just wanted you-know-what with her and wasn't long-term, but was still furious. Dude, you should have ended it and stayed away from her. I finally took her to meet my mom, and she loves my mom, and said she didn't think my dad liked her too much. He said my dad is quiet with everybody he first meets. I found out another 3 months later that she repaid me after giving her all that she wanted and introducing each other to our family. That the very next night she was out with some other guy messing around. I know. He takes her to meet mom and dad, gave her what she wanted, and out the next day she's out messing around with some other guy. She's a cheater, she's a liar, she's passive-aggressive, she's a drama queen, she's a drunk. How much shit can she do to make this guy understand? Move on. She must have been a freaking bed, let me tell you, when she's not breaking up with you in the middle of hooking up. After that, she ended up getting a new, better-paying job and began working in the city versus the suburbs where we were at. We went on trips and had the same interest and fun, truly felt like being in love with a best friend. However, we go to Jamaica where she proceeds to get drunk as hell and get into a crazy argument when she punches me in the face. Dude, now she's hitting you? And don't blame the alcohol. Then proceeds to go and buy a illegal substance that I'm not going to mention here. When I got back, I was laughing with a buddy about this, and mom overhears this. The next day, she confronts me and tells me to never bring this girl to her house ever again. Good, listen to your mom. She knows this girl's trouble, but she also knows you're a grown-ass man in your 30s, and you gotta know better, and so she's obviously not going to waste her breath telling you to get rid of her. Heading into Christmas this year, my ex suddenly cuts off you-know-what, saying that she had a talk with God about... a talk with God about how to get where she wanted to in life, and she was going to do what she needed to do to please him. I was baffled. She started eating differently, not drinking, but somehow justified how she wanted to go buy another white substance, I'm not going to mention here, for a pre-Christmas treat of fun before the holiday madness. Oh, so she had a talk with God, and she's going to better herself, but I guess she had a talk with the devil, because she went and bought an illegal white substance, which tends to come from Colombia, hint, hint. That's okay. A month later, she breaks up saying we're not growing or progressing and my parents don't like her because she's obviously never allowed around. I was crushed. About 2 weeks later on Yelp, she's posting a picture of a trip with a brand new guy. Typical, I know. See how girls can get a guy like that and replace you? Boom, 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 boom. Just like that. And she's hot, so there's no problem there. See, guys, this is why I'm doing this video. To show you guys the shit dudes put up with. So that hopefully some of you guys learn from this and don't make the same mistakes. Because I know plenty of you guys are with women, either now or in the past, where you endured so much shit for so long. He says, everybody at my job told me that Everybody at my job told me that if that was who she replaced me with, she'll be back ASAP. About 3 months later came the I miss you text. I made her wait a day and hit her up and arranged a date. Just like old times, we kissed and had a blast. She cried her fake tears. The next day we had you-know-what, and it was back to the old times for real. Dude, I'm going to guess you don't look like the Elephant Man. I'm going to guess you're probably a decent-looking guy. I don't know what you look like. All right, guys, so find another chick. Why do you keep getting back with her? Why are you putting yourself through this? Unless you enjoy the drama, unless this excites you. We went on a trip to Miami where the very first night she proceeds to get drunk and begin trashing my family out of nowhere in front of her brother and sister, saying that my family was a bunch of a-hole Trump-supporting Republicans. I asked her, what the WTF have they done that's so horrible to you, and how have they never been anything but nice? Her own sister buried her head under the pillow until finally jumping in and snapping and her telling her to stop talking to me like this. This is how you treat your man. Basically, they're used to her crazy behavior that they can't save. So her own family knows she's nuts. More signs, dude. Get out of there. A month later, she pulled the same exact thing in front of a complete strangers at a winery that I took to her for her birthday. I spent $650 for one night there, only for her to do that again, and it concluded with her rolling down her car window and spitting in my face. Yeah, this takes the cake for the crazy chick story, guys, definitely. $650 you spent on her? What the hell's the matter with you, man? That's $650 you could have had put away. You could have put into an index fund or something to watch grow and appreciate. Instead, you spent $650 on this bimbo, and you got spit in the face. You know, dude, with what you're putting up with and the money you're spending, you could easily pay for, you can get an escort every now and again when you need some and not have to deal with this shit. I left and went home and told her to enjoy the night. I wanted to be done, but then came the I'm sorry. If we never talk again, just know that I'm sorry. Who cares if she's sorry? The next day I ignored all her texts and she finally sent me one saying she was heading to the hospital. I knew she was full of it, but wanted to make sure she wasn't going to off herself or anything. Well, she should be going to the mental hospital. That's where she should be going. A few months go by. I went camping multiple times to a town. We went camping multiple times to a townhouse away. He wrote this badly. 2 trips and a concert. I paid for it all. Dumbass. How about she pays for things? 1 week after our last beach trip, she gets home from work and asks about when am I going to getting my own apartment. As a disclaimer, I still live at home saving my money for a house versus spending it on an apartment that I can't afford. Well, I'm glad you're saving your money to buy a house. That's a good investment. But you're pissing away all your money on her. So while you're saving it at home, you're pissing away on this girl. Don't do that. I know that I'm well past the age, but it is what it is, and not my permanent life situation. I told her that I wasn't moving to an apartment that I couldn't afford, and she told me that if I didn't get out of my parents, that she wasn't staying with me. I asked her if she wanted to turn the car around and take her home because of this behavior. She said yes. I dropped her off and told her to get the bleep out of my truck. She said no, and I told her I wasn't seeing her and to get out. She said no, and that she would sit there all day if she needs to. It's like a little kid folding their arms and being mad. That's what this sounds like. I turned the key off, and it was early August in Atlanta. I said to get out or she could sit here and be hot all day. She got out. Anyway, we were back together until November, when she just randomly disappeared for 2 straight weeks. I didn't contact her, and she didn't contact me. During this time, it would have been 2 years of dating, where most women would acknowledge it. 2 years you're putting up with this man? Holy crap. Since you're into relationships, you could have met a really actually normal, great girl this time period, but instead you're with this nut job. Unless this is something you really do enjoy. Not her. I asked her WTF was going on the week of Thanksgiving and I was supposed to come. She said neither of us reached out and we're both ready to move on and wanted to be friends. I told her hell no, that would ever happen. She told me I should still come. She told me she refused to date me for living at home, and if I ever get out, reach out to her. I sent her a picture of her ring measurements we once looked at and asked her what I would save my money for, and this was a house versus a dumb apartment. Her response was that she'd rather me focus on my own place. The next day I received the thinking about you text. She invited me for her family Thanksgiving. I think another part of this, dude, is that she enjoys messing with you. Break up with you, then bring you back in. Break up with you, rope you back in. Back and forth, back and forth. She loves the drama. She loves messing with you. I mean, she's probably like, how much shit will this guy put up with before he finally kicks me to the curb? There are women like this. The first night, there she is, laying comfortable in a bed and FaceTimes me. She asked me to bring a pump for an air mattress. I asked her who the hell was sleeping on that, and she told me that she and I would. I knew what she was doing was trying to turn me into just a friend. He says she has no friends I know other than one true one. Well, there's a surprise. No one would waste their time hanging out with this crazy girl. 1 week later, she tells me that she wants to go to an ice skating. I was speaking like a boyfriend about getting intimate later, and she responded we weren't having you-know-what. Seeing how she had left me during the exact same time last year with the same exact behavior, I told her that wasn't going to work for me. That I had no idea what happened to us because whatever, and to call me if she wanted to be boyfriend-girlfriend again. I get the K response. 3 weeks go by and I'm at peace until the Friday right before Christmas. I was at home on PTO that day, and I get a random email from an account titled, "You need to know this." The email is from a guy claiming to be her ex and warning that she has HIV and doesn't know it, and that I should get tested ASAP. Oh my God. As if you weren't dealing with enough bullshit already. I would kind of be wondering that too, my friend. I go get tested, but kept wondering who this is and asked him straight up, is this Christy? Don't share her name, please. Well, sorry, dude. I don't think that person's going to notice this. They say no and to just tell her and just stay away from her or we'll have problems that she's in love with them now. I instantly got up from the testing clinic and decided I wasn't wasting $200 on this BS. I called her to warn her and tell her that if she's dating somebody this possessive this quick, then then she's with somebody who will hurt her and don't want that. These emails keep coming saying that they warned me to stop talking to her and they just gotten off the phone with her and hoped I could fight. I kept texting her asking who the hell is she talking to. Somehow she turns me saying email into these are coming from Facebook. I have a deactivated Facebook account 99% of the year. I believe I get on there about once a year and deactivate again just to see what people from high school are doing. Yeah, like me. I have Facebook, but it's deactivated. I've been on there in a year. And so I might go on once a year just to see what's going on and probably unlimited messages and I'm done. I'm pretty sure I logged on to my account on her phone once. Anyway, she sends me a screenshot of my Facebook page where I had apparently sent her a roommate a friend request 2 days prior. Funny thing is, 2 days prior, my alternator had died in my truck and my dad and friends were jumping me all the way home. I definitely didn't have time to be friend requesting anybody on Facebook. She tells me that I'm crazy and doesn't know why I would make this up about the email, blah, blah, blah. She's calling you crazy? The next day, I ask her to please just talk with me, and she keeps enjoying the fun of telling me no, and that I need a professional help, and I couldn't handle that she moved on with her life, and I tried to destroy hers. She's saying that you need professional help. She's the one that needs professional help, but you're the one putting up with this, so you definitely aren't 100% either, my friend. I asked her how in the hell would this email trolling me about having HIV ruin her life. The next day I called her other sister who really liked me. She also just shook her head and told me that she knew I didn't do anything and was going to call and talk some sense into her sister right now. About 5 minutes later, my ex calls up cursing me out, like telling me to stay the hell away from her family, that I clearly did all of this. Man, there are all these signs to get away. I mean, how much stuff do you got to deal with before you finally realize I'm done with this girl, completely moving on? Move out of state. I don't know what. Well, no. You shouldn't move out of state, but just stop dealing with her. At the time, my ex changes her Netflix account from my name to some new guy's name. Not sure if there really was a guy at all doing this, or if she just thought I would look at it and want to hurt me with something made up, already being with somebody new. From there, she begins threatening restraining orders on me and telling me just to admit that I did this and maybe we can move on. I told her I wasn't admitting to shit and I know she did, and I know I didn't do it. She then proceeds to drag a former coworker into this and sends me a text the day after I called her sister and demands I call her right now. My crazy ex went on one of those social media websites where you can Google a username and see what comes up, and it's this guy's picture. I was actually on the phone laughing about this when it happened. When she sent it, I asked him, what was this him? He was like, holy shit, that's my Facebook. He immediately went to change his passwords on everything. A month goes by, she randomly sends me threats mixed in with Happy New Year's, you're always on my mind kind of texts, and tell me before we even move forward, I have to apologize for what I've done. This woman is mental. Holy crap. Guys, this is an example of the hot crazy scale, I don't know what, and how you should not endure these types of things, how cut them loose. The second you see any crazy, cut them loose, and what you can deal with if you endure all this. Look how long I've gone on this story here. This thing's 10 pages long. Anyway, She proceeds to get drunk on mimosas one day at 11 a.m. and texts me asking for the friend's info whose picture is associated with the Facebook account. She then blows up his Facebook, LinkedIn, phone number, everything imaginable, pretending to be at a police station where they need to speak with him in regards to all this email harassment. It concludes with this guy thinking I'm the one who's crazy and I got blocked. Good riddance as far as I'm concerned. My ex is found on Bumble 2 months later by a friend I work with, so if there was a guy that did all this, then that didn't work out, and she clearly knows she can't come back after this. Nor do I want this back. About a year later, I saw her at a local Publix that I lived 2 minutes from. She just looked at me with pure hatred. I shook my head, smiled, and kept walking. She lives 20 minutes away and would have no business being there. I admit I check to see what she's up to from time to time, and just about all of her reviews on Yelp are in my area. Perhaps she has a new boyfriend who already lives nearby, which would suck. But I think she's just that nuts and wants to start some shit with me. Gee, you think? Or run into my mom and smear me just like she tried to do on that end. Anyway, if my story doesn't take the cake of the hot crazy, then I don't know what does. Yes, my friend, that is definitely the record for the hot crazy scale and the amount of crap a dude would endure over some woman. And what have we all learned here, guys? No woman is worth this. Okay? Yeah, I get you meet a hot girl and you love being around her and she excites you and great body and great sex and all that, but seriously, you heard it right there. All this shit this guy put up with for 2 years. The ups and downs, the roller coasters, the back and forth, the breakups, the makeups, all this stuff, the crazy, the HIV scares, spitting in his face, punching him, her doing drugs. I mean, it just goes on and on. Over some piece of ass? Well, man, if you see this, I really hope you're doing well. I hope you learned your lesson. And because remember, in the beginning, you left a previous job because of something that happened with a girl at work. Now, then you got another job, and then again with her. And I know you took your time, but still. So, my friend, buy that house you've been saving up for, if it's still affordable in this crazy hot housing market. I hope you got one before this. Actually, I wouldn't be buying it at the top of the market now, but anyhow, I hope you got one before the market took off. And I hope you're doing well and focusing on your purpose and learn from this. But anyhow, guys, let this be an example. Don't be this guy. Don't make the same mistakes this guy did. No girl is worth all this shit. So anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Then what you think about this. Let me know, guys, in the comment section. Have you had a similar story? Have you put up with a whole lot of crazy just because she's hot? And what you learned from that. I'd like to hear about that. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.